there? Woo! Appreciate you all coming. Make sure you maintain 6 feet distancing. AHS might get upset. We know Bill Gates will. It's really good to see you all out here. As you may have noticed, this was originally an internet Facebook group, and it started with masks. And with masks, we noticed that there was no real conservative voice. All these foundations that are out there that say they're for the people, you look at their actions and you look at the money and you look at where it goes to, and they're not for the people. And I looked at every foundation that was out there, from the Joy Smith Foundation to Justin Trudeau's foundation. I quickly passed Justin Trudeau's foundation because I don't support pedophiles. But what I noticed, and talking to a lot of you, and when my Facebook account was censored and removed, was that we have this abundance of fear for speaking out. And we're afraid. We're afraid. We want to wear masks when we go into Walmart because we don't want to be different. Well, being different is what makes us unique, what makes us human, and what makes us individuals. And we should embrace that. It's powerful. We've been taught for the last 30 years that the individual has no power, when in reality, we hold all the power. All of it. And if we didn't hold the power, Mark Zuckerberg and Jack from Twitter wouldn't be doing everything in their power to censor everybody who speaks out. And that's because I hold the power, you hold the power, Rob Hatfield over there holds the power, Lindsay holds the power, Bob over there holds the power. Every one of you holds the power, and we hold the power because we're human and we're free. And we can talk to our neighbors and we can get to know them, and that's true power. Love is true power. And that's what they're afraid of. They would rather have us afraid of our neighbors, and they'd rather have us afraid of what's taking place. The time for fear is over. And we really need to understand that if we don't stop it, no one will. There's so much money invested in this. I'll explain it to you this way. When they passed their mandatory vaccine law, their one vaccine for COVID is worth $5 trillion in profit annually. 5 trillion. That's more than our entire budget federally. We would have no more homeless if we could spend that money on people instead of personal wealth and personal greed. And what we're seeing right now in the news with all the Durham report and this Q crap and everything else is we're watching the executives from the media who are guilty for covering this up for the last 10 years. They're complicit in crimes against children. They're complicit in crimes against humanity. They're complicit in crimes against third world nations. They're complicit in crimes against Africa, against people of India, and through all around the world. And we allow them. We allow them because we're afraid. And we need to stop being afraid. We need to understand that love conquers, and be critically informed. And we need to stop letting the people on social media tell us that we're wrong and that we wear a tin hat. Well, first of all, they should fact check their shit, because it's aluminum hat and tin hasn't been used for about 50 years. And we need to understand that there's not a lot of people here because our advertising for this event was censored. And that's the true problem, is they don't want us united. They want us divided. They would rather have us taking a knee and screaming systematic racism and white privilege instead of coming together to understand that our Muslim neighbor and our Native neighbor and our Chinese neighbor all have the same problems. We all want to go to work. We all want to provide for our families. We want to put a roof over their head. We want to be safe and secure in our homes. And that's what we want. It's not outrageous. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's actually quite simple when we really think about it. But we've been programmed to fear. Fear the people hanging out at the Rotary House. Well, why? Well, they're not a harm to us. They might be stealing some of our bikes and our stuff, but they're stealing stuff to get their fix. They're not robbing us for the sake of robbing us. They're trying to get their fix. What's up? Well, apparently someone doesn't like freedom, and he might work for Antifa, maybe BLM. Well, apparently he's really mad. I got a hug for you. Love over hate, bud. Love over hate. And what we really need to understand is 30 years from now, if we don't stop this, our great-grandkids will be wondering why. They'll wonder why mom and dad were too busy putting memes online, and why mom and dad were too busy wearing masks going through Walmart, and why they couldn't say, hey, enough is enough. There's this meme that goes around, and it's a picture of Risk, and it's people on their backs, and it's got a board game. And you have 7 families to represent a way to legally come in to the people of Quebec's house to take people out of their families and isolate them. And yet still the people in Grande Prairie say this is not going to happen here. Last week, Toronto said that we have isolation centers for quarantining family members. People in Grande Prairie say it's not going to happen here. Under Bill 24, the Alberta government can write a law by their ministers under no legislation debate. The AHS and any government official can walk into your house, take you out of your house without a warrant. They can seize your property and seize every one of your assets without any kind of trip to court, no legal document. That's draconian. That is an overreach that most of our relatives fought in World War II to prevent from happening here. There's a reason why they're trying to isolate the seniors from all of us, because if we don't understand our history, we're damned to repeat it. And that's what we're doing, is we're repeating history. You can look at what's taking place, and we're repeating it systematically, everything the way they have planned it out, and it's all happening. We're divided. We hate our neighbors. Our liberal friends, they're not our enemies. And the media wants conservatives and liberals to hate each other. They're not our enemies. Highly misinformed, but they're not our enemies. And that's what we need to understand. Those people that are taking a knee for Black Lives Matter, they're not our enemies. They want the establishment to come to their knees, but they're following what the media tells them, and what Obama says is what they should support. And that's the problem. We need to be critically informed. We need to turn our cheek the other way and take the abuse, but we need to understand that only when we're together and we bridge this gap of division will we actually solve something. And that's what we need to do. We need to understand that we can't wait for somebody to come along and save us on a white horse, because that person's not coming. It's us, it's me, it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you, it's everybody that's here. We must stand up. We need to inform our neighbors. We need to tell them what's going on. We need to know on our street, when they lock us down for Thanksgiving, and they're going to lock us down, he came right out and said, we might get Christmas. On our street, we need to know who has the heart problem, who's got diabetes, who's suffering from strokes, who the seniors are, who the single moms are. That's the true power, is when we look after ourselves through community and through being united. And as long as we stay divided and we stay in fear and we have anger and we have hate, we're never, ever, ever going to accomplish anything. And the whole reason why we're doing this differently and we're not protesting and we're not rallying is because we need to have love over fear. We need to have understanding over misinformed. We need to be critically informed instead of uninformed. And we need to no longer be ignorant. And we need to not fear our neighbors. We're all strangers. And I hope at the end of the day I have all your names, numbers in my contact list, because that's true power. That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid that we will come together. That's why they would rather attack someone for being racist, or attack someone for being full of hate, or attack someone for being a KKK member. Because if you dare talk about being unity or talk about being critically formed, you are the enemy. Because you can't have that. But we need that. We have to have that. And in fact, we have no choice. If we hope to accomplish anything, then we have to be united. And we need to understand, through love and understanding, we can defeat this. To the individual accepting that we truly have the power. And it's time for us to take it back. Ellen doesn't have the power. Oprah doesn't have the power. Obama doesn't have the power. Biden doesn't even know where he is 3/4 of the time. Justin Trudeau is selling us out to so many people. And Jason Kenney is a federalist. And he talks about how he's Canadian first. But we need to put our province first. We need to put Alberta first. We need to stop being ashamed of this province. This province is a representation of that flag. I don't care what anybody says. I wasn't born here. I'm not from here. I came here in 2013. Most of the people in Grande Prairie are not from here. Maybe 50% are from here, and everybody else is from every other province or country around the world. And that's what makes this province the greatest province in this country, is because we all come together for economic opportunity. We all come together to make something of ourselves. We come from lower class families back home, and we come here for an economic opportunity that we can't have back home. And we need to be proud that Alberta gave that to us. We got to stop being ashamed. We should be proud of our oil sands and speak for our oil sands. When we did the carbon tax, the one thing I said, and I got thanked because I explained how Alberta differs than Venezuelan oil and Saudi oil. And this is how it differs. And this is what we need to sell ourselves on, is that our environmental standards are the highest in the world. Athabasca, Fort Mac, that's an environmental cleanup. We're not polluting the earth, we're cleaning up the earth. Our employment standards are the highest amongst the earth. Our WCB, our safe work environment is the highest. And we don't care in the oil patch, in the oil energy, we don't care what gender you are, we don't care your sexual preference. All we care is that when we're beside you, we can work with you. We don't care if you're male or female. Some of the greatest tradespeople have been women that I've worked alongside and worked for. And we need to embrace that. And we need to sell that. And we're not. And we need to come together like this more often and be united. And we need to understand that only through love, communication, and understanding will we get somewhere. And I hope that we all get to know each other's names and we mingle and we take advantage of this, because that's our true power. We remain divided, we don't get anything. True power is not me standing on this stage, it's all of us getting together and networking. Network and true power. And love. We need more love. Way more love. Stop the ignorance. Stop being uninformed. Let's be critically informed. Let's get to know our neighbors. Let's not be afraid to have political conversations, because the fear of political conversations is the reason why we're in this position today. People are afraid to talk about politics. We shouldn't be afraid. People fought and died for the right to talk about politics. We need to understand that. By being afraid, we're just perpetuating what's taking place. And it has to stop. And that's all I have. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.